The story begins with our main protagonist called Red, who is an apothecary living in a small town called Zoltan. His real name is Gideon Ragnarsson, and in the past he was a knight and a member of the hero party. He keeps his past a secret and tries to live a quiet life. However, we come to discover that his sister, called Rudy, is currently the main hero of the hero party. The reason Red was banished from the hero party was because he wasn't able to improve his ability in combat. Because of this, the second in command of the party, called Ares, decided that Red was just a liability which could be dangerous for the group in a battle. Because Red was a knight of Bahamut, returning to the order would be a disgrace. Ares allowed Red to leave all his items and just leave the party, disappearing and totally changing his life. In the present, Red meets a young adventurer called Albert. His goal is to defeat a dangerous creature owlbear that has been seen nearby Zoltan. Albert is new to these parts, so he requires a guide to lead him through the forest so that he can find his target. Red wants to live a quiet life and doesn't want to expose his abilities and skills, so at first he refuses Albert's offer. Red has a young friend called Tanta that has a mysterious illness that will eventually make him go blind. Red decides to help his friend, and even risking being punished by the Adventurer Guild doesn't stop him from going into the forest. He makes his way to the dark forest to collect medicinal plants that will help Tanta and cure his illness. Meanwhile, Albert decides to set the forest on fire so that the owlbear reveals itself. The owlbear starts getting out of control, and Red decides to kill it so that it doesn't cause further destruction. Afterwards, Albert finds the dead owlbear and claims that he was the one who killed it so that he can claim all the glory and reward. With the medicinal plants, Red manages to cure Tanta. Gauntz, who is Tanta's uncle and also a carpenter, decides to repay Red for his help and builds him a house and a drugstore. This finally allows Red to begin his new life as an apothecary. Time passes and Red gets comfortable in his new life, but one day that all changes. A familiar face from his past shows up at his store. In his store walks in Rit, a princess of the Duchy of Loggervia, a powerful place with extreme military power. Rit's family members started to clash on the topic who will lead the duchy, and because of that Rit had to escape to safety. She arrived in Zoltan and has decided to live with Red. At first Red was reluctant to the idea, but eventually he accepted her living with him. Elsewhere, we see that the hero party has recruited a new member to their group. Tis Garland is the new member and has the special ability called Diving Blessing of the Assassin. We learn that in the past Rit and Red had a connection. His hero party worked closely together with the Duchy of Loggervia, and Rit was the princess at that time who was also an adventurer herself. She was very much against the hero party being involved with the duchy, and at one point Rit even convinced the Duke of Loggervia that she should lead the attack on the Demon Lord's army. The attack was supposed to be targeting food stores that were part of the Demon Lord army, but unfortunately the raid failed. During the raid, Rit realized that her master was imprisoned by Shisenden, one of the generals in the Demon Lord's army. Rit couldn't handle the battle, so she was about to be killed when Red saved her. Rudy then fought Shisenden and killed him. Afterwards, Rit became depressed as she lost everything, even her friends and master. Red, who was then still called Gideon, helped her get out of that bad state of mind, and with his help Rit found the will to fight. Rit then led the battle against the Demon Lord army. After those events, Gideon was banished from the hero party and exiled himself to Zoltan. In the present, Rit and Red go shopping to buy her a bed since she is moving in. Red also comes up with a recipe for a brand new painkiller for his business. A guy called Dan, who is the person who needs to approve of the medicine, rejects it and states that it can cause addiction. Rit then uses her connection as a former princess and gets the painkiller approved. To attract buyers for the new medicine, Red and Rit come up with a recipe that puts health supplements into small cookies. This product is sold out in a matter of hours and everybody loves it. Elsewhere, Danon argues with Ares as their mission to locate the Demon Lord's weapon totally fails. Ares is angry that the mission failed because he didn't lead the group well enough. Danon starts to hate Ares and goes to talk to Rudy. It is then revealed that Danon knew the entire time that Ares kicked Red out the team because he was jealous of his skills. Rudy tells Danon to set out and find Red to bring him back. It is also revealed that the blessing skill system works in a way that a person can only level up their skill if they kill another living being with their blessing skill. While giving their user powers, these blessings can also affect their personality. This means that people who use blessing skills a lot in battle can also become more aggressive and be prone to violence. Back at Zoltan, the people of the city are shocked that someone as adventurous and strong as Rit is living and working for Red. Rit loves to drink mead, so she goes out to buy some, and in her absence Albert visits the store and begins to threaten Red. Albert accuses him of killing the owl bear. Red pretends to know nothing about the situation, but that causes Albert to get even more angry and attack him. Rit comes back in the store just in time, and Albert can't believe that Rit would be working with Red in his store. Rit drops the mead to the ground and Red shows incredible speed and catches it. Albert is shocked and scared of Red's skills. After some time, Rit and Red visit a sauna in the city, but they notice that it has barely any customers. The owner of the sauna, called Zeph, explains that there is a rival bathhouse that is taking all his business. The rival house was built by nobles and they have a restaurant as well as a massage parlor. Red and Rit decide to help out, and Red comes up with a plan to create a potpourri of various medicinal herbs in the sauna, in the hopes that this might invite customers back to the bathhouse. Later, it is revealed that Rit wanted to drink mead because in her country of Lagervia it is tradition for a newly married couple to drink mead together. Elsewhere, we see that Theodora is talking with Tis about the hero party. She asks Tis if she regrets joining the group, as it seems that every mission is a failure and nobody is getting along. This was something that never happened while Red was part of the group. Rit has not only given up her princess life, but she has also given up on adventuring. But one day the Adventurers Guild comes to her and tries to bribe her to return to her adventuring life. Rit refuses, and then the Thieves Guild tries to bribe Red with a similar offer. However, he refuses as he wants to continue his normal life. Red gifts Rit with a beautiful amber bracelet and she appreciates it very much, and the two have gotten closer since living together. Their peaceful life is jeopardized when the Thieves Guild sends Dia to blackmail Rit. The guild fears Rit, so they threaten to reveal Rit's location to her royal family, but it doesn't work as Rit doesn't care about any of that. Rit remembers when she was with the hero party and they were battling the Demon Lord's army. She also remembers how she always liked Red but didn't want to bother him, and later decided to go back to her homeland and fulfill her duty as princess. In the present, Red goes on a medicine delivery for Dr. Newman's clinic. On his way, he sees that someone has been poisoned, so he helps to save their life. This person is revealed to be named Jackson and has been poisoned by a painkiller. Red decides to investigate the situation and find out what kind of painkiller could cause poisoning. One of Tanta's friends, called Albert, goes to a picnic with Rit and tells her that he has unlocked his blessing ability and that he has now become a weapon master. Meanwhile, members of the newly formed party led by Albert lose their minds and become violent. They start attacking people and eventually they fight Rit. Albert kills all of them in battle. Danon finally reaches the town of Zoltan in his search for Red and meets a man called Buey who is also searching for Red. Elsewhere, Red has flashbacks of him and Rudy when they were just kids. He remembers that he promised to become a knight so the two of them could go on adventures together. Suddenly, Dr. Newman shows up with Al, who has been severely injured. Elsewhere, the hero party prepares for another quest as they resupply at an oasis in the Bloodsand Desert. There, Tis realizes that Rudy is extremely sad about her brother no longer being in the company, and she misses him very much, and the group is beginning to fall apart. Albert is able to make a full recovery and he reveals that a demi broke into his house and tried to kill him and his parents with a giant axe. Red and Dr. Newman are able to find Albert's parents alive. Throughout the town, news spreads that a demi has been attacking people and has been missing. A rumor appears that a demi is being hidden by his father, called Moan, who is also the town guard. Rit and Red use their connections and set up a meeting with Moan and Tanta. Moan does not want to even consider the possibility that his son Ademi might have become evil, and he doesn't believe that Ademi unlocking his blessing could cause him to become a murderer. Moan orders Rit to find the source of the drug that made his son lose his mind. Al recovers in the apothecary when suddenly a mysterious man arrives and leaves an item that has a locate spell on it. In the meantime, Rit finds the drug dealer, but she is also caught in a trap. Danon appears at the last moment and saves her, also realizing that Gideon wants to move past his life as a knight and live peacefully, so he tells Rit to just remain quiet about his identity. Danon and Rit realize that the people who attacked Rit were masked as demons. Later in the day, Red and Rit go into town and there they find a weapon that perfectly fits Al's blessing. Elsewhere, the hero party has finally found a special weapon of the former demon lord. The weapon is a giant airship. They are suddenly attacked by demons who guard the airship, and Ares proves that he has no ability to lead the party. He refuses to take any accountability and pretends everything went great. Rudy realizes that with the airship she might be able to find and bring back her brother. It is revealed that Big Hawk is behind a lot of the bad things happening in the town. He uses his henchmen to kidnap Al, and Big Hawk was the one who corrupted the Devil's Blessing to use it as a narcotic to plague Zoltan and its citizens. Big Hawk wants Al to kill Ademi, however Al refuses and instead finds a way to free himself and Ademi. Both of them are then rescued when Red arrives. Red faces off against Albert as well as several members of Big Hawk's gang. It is then revealed that Big Hawk has actually been possessed by a contract demon that is called Belial. Albert really wants to prove himself and finally become a member of the hero party, so he decides to attack Red. But Red is too skilled of a fighter, and he eventually cuts off Albert's hand. The guards of the town arrive and manage to arrest both Big Hawk and Albert. Al and Ademi reveal to everybody in the town what Big Hawk had planned for them. Several days pass and it is revealed that Rit and Red have developed some sort of intimate relationship. Albert has also decided to become an adventurer and joins a party. Big Hawk is visited in prison by the demon lord who was supposedly killed by Rudy. He reveals himself and tells Belial that he has failed and the humans now know about the devil's blessing. Albert makes a new deal with Belial and they escape and join the hero party. Rudy realizes that something is wrong and prepares to fight Albert. Belial gives Rudy some devil's blessing which makes her more powerful. Rudy then decides to leave the hero party and go to Zoltan on the airship. She is also joined by Tis and they pretend to be just simple adventurers. But Tis finds Red at a countryside event and they recognize each other. Tis then reports the news to Rudy. On the other hand, Rit and Red go to help a patient called Undyne. The patient has been affected by a magical drain that has spread all over Zoltan. The magical drain is a sign of a powerful being. Rudy and Tis then break Godwin out of prison. Godwin is the person who created the devil's blessing. Godwin has been severely injured, so Rudy and Tis have to find an apothecary to heal him. This leads them to Red. The reunion of brother and sister finally happens. Red and Rudy reconnect and start sharing stories of what they have experienced. Red finally finds out that Ares kicked him out of the party because of jealousy. Rudy decides that she wants to live with her brother and that she is done with the hero party. Rudy tries to settle down in Zoltan, but her personality makes it difficult. She also gets sick and goes in search of the elven ruins that could be used as a laboratory to produce more demons' blessing. Rudy, Rit, and Tis all take a bath in the hot springs where Rudy reveals that she needs her brother as he supports her emotionally like no one else. Because of her blessing, she cannot experience joy as an emotion. Ares and Theodora use Albert to locate Rudy. They also make their way towards Zoltan. Tis shares her knowledge about Rudy to Red and Rit. She explains that Rudy has been using the devil blessing and that even though so far she has been immune to its effects, eventually she will turn insane. Rit and Red agree to travel to the elven ruins so that they can stop Godwin from producing more devil's blessings. On their way there, they run into Danon, who is so happy to see his friends. Ares arrives at Zoltan and finds Red's shop, and out of anger he destroys it. Red makes his way towards the elven ruins and it is revealed that the elven ruins are actually the remains of an ancient advanced civilization. Red then meets up with Rudy and Godwin and tries to convince his sister to live a life she desires and that she should just ignore her blessing. She doesn't have to be a hero, she can choose. The effects of the devil's blessing are revealed and Rudy realizes that because of all her experiences a new blessing has appeared inside her. Ares arrives at the ruins and attacks the group, but Rudy manages to escape. Ares then meets up with an Asura demon as well as the Demon King. The demons reveal to Ares that in the elven ruins there exists an ancient artifact that was left there by the first hero. This artifact could give Ares the power he needs. Elsewhere, the real Danon finds Albert and Theodora and they go to help Rit and Red. Everybody realizes what Ares plans to do, so they all start hunting him to stop his evil plans. Ares, with the help of the Demon King, finds the sacred artifacts, which are special ancient swords with great power. At that moment the group finally finds them and attacks them. Ares tries to kill Red using the sacred sword. He also tries to convince Rudy to rejoin the hero party. Theodora also shows up and attacks Rudy so that she returns to her hero path. Rit tries to stop all the fighting, explaining that the blessing doesn't determine what a person shall become and that everybody should choose their own destiny. Red, Rit, Rudy, Godwin, and Tis join forces and attack their enemies in one final push. Red manages to finally kill Ares. The Demon King manipulates Rudy into taking one of the sacred swords. The weapon awakens a sudden urge to kill Rudy, so she attacks Red. Tis steps in and Rudy mortally wounds her. Red is somehow able to take the sword away from Rudy, which frees her mind. Realizing the error of her way, Theodora decides to help Tis and heals her wounds. After some time passes, Rudy and Tis decide they will move to Zoltan in order to try and live a normal life. Rudy receives a new blessing which manages to suppress her hero blessing. Red and Rit become husband and wife and live a quiet life as healers in Zoltan. And this brings the anime to an end. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you enjoyed, and turn on the notification bell so you never miss out on another video. Until next time, take care.